This is the Miller philosopher. The sequence in both the book and the movie adaptation of Fellowship of the Ring, where Galadriel gives Gimli 3 strands of her hair, are regarded as pivotal moments in the series, largely for Gimli's character development, from being a prejudiced dwarf to, at the very least, regarding 2 of their kind in the highest regard, that being Legolas and, as I already mentioned, Galadriel. However, I feel that there is another subtle question to be made here regarding Galadriel herself over this moment. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, if you will. The gifts to the Fellowship from the Elf Queen happen after her temptation/test of being presented with near absolute power in the form of the One Ring, when Frodo offers it to her freely, and I still believe rather ignorantly as well. The question is, would Galadriel still have offered the hairs on her head to Gimli before she had the test? Or, worse yet, has she failed and just claimed the ring herself? We're all Lord of the Rings nerds here, so it doesn't need yet another in-depth explanation about the significance of Gimli's gift in the larger context of Tolkien's universe overall, and more specifically regarding Fëanor, who had also made such a request. However, looking at Galadriel's mindset from the First Age to the Third Age, I think bears some legitimate thought here regarding this question. Galadriel, being at the time of the First Age, still kind of insightful for a Noldor elf, but also much less wise. She's just as ambitious as the other Noldor lords, and arguably maybe even as hot-tempered, given her reaction to Fëanor and the contempt in which she held him when Fëanor asked her for a strand of her hair. By the time of her stay in Menegroth and her tutelage under High Queen Melian, she seems more chill, but still is regarded in the Silmarillion text as somewhat willful and wanting to rule her own lands. Or, in other words, she's matured and not as ruthless or as violent as her family, but still wants power to rule, though nowhere near on the level of a Morgoth or Sauron, mind you. There's an argument to be made that this might have been considered enough growth that she may have still given Gimli the strands of her hair by this time, before a test of the One Ring. Of course, that's considering if you consider a millennia's worth of experience as enough, and given that unlike her husband Celeborn, she had trusted the dwarves enough to travel through Khazad-dûm during the Second Age with the war between Sauron and the elves going on, and was also wise enough to recognize their potential as stated in the book The Fall of Númenor. However, she also left the Noldor realm of Eregion under bad circumstances when she fell out of favor with its council of ruling smiths over the forging of the Rings of Power. And though this was not a violent expulsion by any means, this is still the Noldor we're talking about here. If a transition does not go smoothly, and if there's no violence, there's still the potential for deep resentment. Moreover, given Galadriel's Second Age mentality, while she may have been much less prejudiced against the dwarves, the death and tragedy of her family that Fëanor started still may have been a wound that was somewhat too near. So therefore, making the same request as him may have touched off some sort of ancient wound or band-aid of bad memories that Gimli would have obviously not had known about when he made his request. If that was the case, it's likely she would have refused and perhaps offered him another gift, or Gimli simply deciding that just seeing the most beautiful woman in Middle-earth was enough for him. So this then begs the question, though, that if this was the case before the ring test, then what change happened to her that would have changed Galadriel's presumed reluctance? Well, taking up the One Ring would mean walking in Fëanor's footsteps and surpassing it as well, I believe. But surpassing it at the cost of forever being trapped by her internal snow globe of her younger self that wanted that power and ambition and ego. Essentially, that the test was not just about rejecting ancient ambition, but was also, if not more so, about laying to rest an ancient injury and grudge with her uncle. I'm not saying it's Galadriel forgiving Fëanor, mind you, since technically, number one, he wasn't involved in this particular situation, and number two, that he hadn't done anything wrong at the time that he made his request, just that she had a very bad feeling about him and didn't trust him because of issues with their family. But that the test was her finally moving on and completely letting go of that past version of herself. The gift of her 3 strands of hair to the dwarf, I think, can be argued basically then as symbolism for her letting go completely of the past, as well as, of course, Gimli's development as well. But what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. But this is the Miller Philosopher, and you guys have a good day.